Welcome back, guys. It is championship racing once again at SARCO. We're in the BMW E30 M3. We're at Watkins Glen GP and we're at round number 3. The weather for the races this afternoon is a light rain. We will be having 2 races of 10 laps with a 5-minute qualifying. Sit back and enjoy the highlights of both races 1 and 2. Now we have a look at the starting lineup. 7 rows of races with Hamid. He starts off in 14th place for the Cape Town boys, and he is alongside the Green Mamba driver Dylan in 13th place. Row number 6 in 12th place is Colin. He's from Decor Racing, and he's alongside Jacques from the Flat Rabbit Racing in 11th. Into row 5 in 10th place is the second of the Cape Town boys, Ash. He's alongside the second of the Flat Rabbit racers, Duppy. He's in 9th place. In 8th place in row 4, Tosco 1, Dirkie. He is alongside Jacques from DNA Racing. Jacques in 7th place. Bruno finds himself 6th for Silverback Racing, and he's alongside the Tosco 2 driver, Louis. Row number 2, the second of the Silverback racers, Marius. He's in 4th place, and he is alongside the second of the Tosco 2 drivers, that is Gerard in car number 38. We go to row number 1, and Jakes for Ninja Racing. He's in 2nd place, and he's alongside the championship leader, Scholl in pole position. So as we wait for those green lights, we have Scholl and Jakes on the front row. That's Jakes having a great start coming off that line. It looks like Scholl might have bogged down coming off that start as they head into turn number 1. Everyone seems to be quite safely through there. We jump on board with Duppy from Flat Rabbit Racing as they head into turn number 2. Oh, we see there was Dirkie getting a bit sideways. Oh, that's Jacques. He's gone very sideways. So back to the front of the pack as the drivers go through the boot section here at Watkins Glen. Jakes, he still leads over Scholl as they go through turn number 7, also known as the toe of the boot. Scholl having a little look on the inside for turn number 8, but too far away. Well, big power slide there by Jakes coming into that braking zone. Through turn number 9. Well, Jakes getting a little bit sideways there once again. As they come through this back section, we'll have a look at the positions. So Jakes in 1st place with Scholl in 2nd. Marius, he's in 3rd place with Gerard in 4th. Bruno is 5th with Louis in 6th. Dirkie is 7th. Duppy is in 8th with Ash in 9th place. Colin is 10th with Jacques from FRR Racing. He is in 11th place with Hamid in 12th. Jacques from DNA is in 13th with Dylan in 14th place. So coming through turn number 11, that's Duppy from Flat Rabbit Racing. He unfortunately peels away to go into the pits, having to take a drive through. And then we see that is Jacques Racing, he too coming to the pits, but that would be to get some of the damage repaired after the incident he had coming through the S's. Well, Bruno's had a look on the inside coming through the chute as they prepare to go into the toe. Will he go around the outside? Oh, he has a little bit of a nudge there. Well, there's Marius. He nearly goes straight into the back of his teammate. So Jake still leads. That's Scholl in 2nd. Hard on the brakes. Bruno will now go into the inside. So Bruno, he will move himself up into 3rd place. But is it not done? Whoa, that was extremely close. That was Gerard fighting back. We see in the background there, that's Marius. He having lost out a bit there. He's now fallen down to 6th, having got behind both Louis and Gerard. But Gerard definitely putting some pressure here on Bruno as they cross the line to begin a lap number 3. So we jump on board with a Scholl. You see Jake's getting very sideways coming through the S's, but this now gives you an indication of what the conditions are, and this is what the drivers are seeing when they're in such close proximity to each other. Scholl goes onto the brakes coming into the bus stop, making sure the wheels are straight before getting that power on. You can see Jake's having a bit of a power slide there where Scholl's got a nice and steady through here. This outer loop, a very, very long right-hander, and you get the advantage of a camber, which allows you to get that power on nice and early. As they come into the toe, well, very difficult to see your braking markers when you're so close, especially with all the spray. But Scholl doing a great job here, having a look on the inside with Jake just to let him know that he's there. I'm sure Jake would have seen him in his rearview mirrors. Much tighter line there by Scholl. Jake's still fighting that car. A double tap on the brakes, get the rear out. Oh, that's very dangerous by Jake, having touched that curb. Scholl having a look on the inside as they go into turn 10, but too far. The final corner of this lap. Scholl getting that power down nice and early. We'll have a look coming into turn 1, also known as the 90. I just don't think he's close enough just yet. No, he's not. But Scholl will tuck in behind Jakes through turn 1 as they go through turn 2. Little tap off there by Scholl, almost, Scholl touches the wall. But we see in the rearview mirror, the third place driver is still far enough so not to hamper what Scholl was doing here. So we're still on a lap number 4 in shot. This is the third place driver, Bruno. Behind Bruno there's Gerard, Louis, and the second of the silverback racers, that's Marius, in 6th place. Just behind there in 7th, that was Dirkie for Tosco 1, teammate to Scholl. Gerard is really being a nuisance on the rear of Bruno. Gerard very close to Bruno coming through the hill. But Bruno has held off that attack for now. Lap 5 into turn number 1. Well, Bruno's gone a little bit wide. That's allowed the Gerard enough space to get up right behind him. As they prepare to go through turn number 2 in the S's, Gerard has been able to get past Bruno. Bruno's line was a little bit compromised there, having had to go a lot wider because he didn't have the inside line going in there for the first place. But now this is Louis, he's putting his attack on Bruno. On the brakes together, Bruno will make space for Louis. So Louis, he now moves himself up into 4th place. Bruno drops down to 5th with Marius right behind him. So Gerard has been a little bit slow coming through turn number 9. That's allowed his teammate Louis from Tosco 2. He's now moved up ahead of his partner. The two Tosco 2 drivers trading places, but the two silverback racers of Bruno and Marius are right behind these two. Gerard seemed to have had to slow down quite a bit. That's allowed Bruno to move right alongside him as he crosses the line to begin a lap number 6. Bruno made that move very easy. Gerard had to heed the position. Gerard looking for the inside coming through the S's. Gerard keeping that power down. Looks like Bruno might have touched the outside wall. That's allowed Gerard to get that momentum. And once again, a trade places with Bruno. Bruno, it sucks in behind him as they prepare to go through the bus stop. Well, Gerard getting a little bit sideways and running wide on the exit. Another big power slide there by Gerard. I'm wondering if Bruno will be able to go around the outside here on the outer loop. Oh, but Bruno a little bit wide there. You can see that he hit that little runoff curve. Big power slide there by Marius. Coming through the chute. Oh, there goes Marius straight into the wall. He touched that outside curb and unfortunately put him straight into the wall. Bruno moves to the inside here in turn number 7. It'll be a race up the hill here as they prepare to go into turn number 8. But Gerard looked like he had the much faster outside line. Will Bruno have a look on the inside? No, he doesn't. The positions, Jake leads with Charles in 2nd, Louis 3rd with Gerard in 4th, Bruno's 5th, Dirkie is 6th with Marius down in 7th, Colin 8th, Hamid is in 9th place, Dupi 10th, Jacques from the TTR, he's in 11th, Dylan is in 12th and Ash in 13th place with Jacques from DNA in 14th. Race leader Jake's big power slide coming through turn number 9. That's allowed Charles to go around the outside of Jake's. So the new race leader Charles, he leads this race with Jake's right behind him. Another big power slide there by Jake's coming through turn number 11. So Charles will cross the line to begin lap number 7. In shot, that's Ash from the Cape Town Boys with the green Mumbers colours, Dylan behind him. Coming out of the S's, Ash clipped the wall, but Dylan makes invasive driving going around the outside of him. Dylan giving a little flash of appreciation. There's a 9th is Hamid, a 10th is Dylan, 11th is Ash as they head towards the bus stop. Very tidy line there between the 3 drivers. Oh, Ash is a little bit wide. Well, that's Dylan. He's clipped the outside. That's put him sideways. Oh, spinning him around. That's put Ash straight into the opposite wall. That is extremely unfortunate to see. Ash is away. You can see parts lying all over the floor. Dylan, he now gets himself back on track. Dylan flashing in apology. He will go wide, allow Ash to come past. Very unfortunate situation. Halfway through lap number 7. Charles still leads with Jakes in 2nd place. There's Louis, he's in 3rd place with his teammate Gerard in 4th. Right behind them is Bruno. We see in the background there, that's Dirkie. He's currently in 6th place. But extremely closely contested battle right here for this 3rd place. As the guys come through the final corner of the lap, turn number 11. Will just stay in shot here to catch this action. So lap 8, Charles leads with Jake 2nd, Louis 3rd with Gerard 4th, Bruno is 5th, Dirkie is in 6th place with Colin in 7th, Marius is 8th, Dupi is 9th with Hamid in 10th, Jacques he's in 11th place with Dylan 12th, Ash in 13th place and Jacques from DNA in 14th position. It seems that Gerard is pulling a slight gap over Bruno as they head into the bus stop. Oh, Gerard's gone a bit wide on the exit. I'm sure that's going to allow Bruno to close that gap. But it doesn't look like Bruno got the drive that he needed coming out of there to have put Gerard under any more pressure. Lap number 9, and we see Duppy from Flat Rabbit Racing. He's starting to put some pressure here on Marius. Remembering Marius sustained some damage coming out of a turn number 6, the chute, where he unfortunately lost the rear and put it straight into the inside wall. I'm sure he's definitely battling with pace, as we'll see Duppy will probably move to the inside coming through the start-finish straight. Turn number 11, lap number 9. That is Duppy starting to put some major pressure here on Marius. Remembering Marius unfortunately losing the rear coming out of turn number 6, put his yellow Silverback racing machine into the wall. So I'm sure we'll see the speed differential between the two cars as they come through the S's and down that back straight heading towards the bus stop. See Duppy getting right up behind him, going around the outside. You can see the speed differential quite clearly there. So Duppy, he now moves himself up into 8th place, and Marius here unfortunately drops down to 9th. So in shots our race leader Scholl, starting to pull a gap away from Jakes as he goes through turn number 10, and for the last time in this race number 1 in turn number 11. He will cross the line to win. Jakes will finish 2nd with Louis in 3rd. Gerard will finish 4th with Bruno 5th. Dirkie a respectable 6th with Colin in 7th. Duppy will come home in 8th with Marius in 9th. Hamid 10th. Jacques in 11th place with Dylan in 12th. Ash will come home in 13th with Jacques from DNA in 14th place. Race number 1 is complete. We now head on to race number 2, and we see whether Jakes can fight back and take this winning spot. Enjoy. A 5-minute qualifier sets the starting positions as follows. Hamid Cape Town Boys, he's in 14th place with Jacques from TTR, he's in 13th. Day calls Colin, he's in 12th place, and he's alongside Green Mamba Dylan. Ash, the second of the Cape Town Boy, is in 10th with Jacques from DNA Racing in 9th. Silverback driver Bruno, he's in 8th place, and he's alongside a Tosco 1 driver Dirkie in 7th. The Jakes, he slips down the field to 6th place, having started a 2nd in the first race, and he's alongside the second of the Tosco 2 drivers, Louis. 4th place sees TTR driver Duppy. He's next to Marius from Silverback Racing in 3rd. Tosco 2 driver, he's in 2nd place, Gerard, and he's alongside our race winner, Scholl. Scholl is in pole position. As we wait for the green lights, off they go. Louis gets a great start ahead of Jakes. So that's Scholl with his lights off, Gerard with his lights on. Then it is Bruno, Duppy. Louis, he goes through ahead of Jakes going into turn number 1. The second of the yellow cars, that's Marius. Marius up to a 7th place. Oh, that's Louis getting a little bit sideways, coming through the S's, up against the wall. Jakes avoids him. Jakes puts himself into the wall. Very unfortunate for Louis, having had such a great first race. Has now had to start the second race damaged and in 14th position. So Scholl leads with Gerard 2nd, Bruno is 3rd, Duppy is 4th. 5th is Marius with Jakes in 6th. That's Dirkie in 7th and Ash in 8th. As they come through the bus stop, well, there's a little contact between the Dirkie and Jakes that sends Jakes wide. Well, there's Ash coming through the middle. A little contact between Ash and Jakes. There we have Jacques Racing. He's now put himself in the mix. Colin is right alongside Jakes as they go around the corner. A little touch between Colin and Dylan. Oh, that's unfortunately Hamid. He's spun it around. We'll stay with this action. We'll go back and see what happened there with Hamid. as they come into turn number 8. Ash goes a little bit wide. That allows Jacques Racing to get right up next to him. Unfortunately, he slots back in behind him. Side by side, Jacques and Jakes. Through the hill they go, getting ready to come up, back up the hill. Power on by Jakes. Unfortunately, he's gone around again. This is the corner he lost it on the first race. Very unfortunate for Jakes. Here we go back to see what happened to Hamid. Little touch between Colin and Dylan. Hamid here unfortunately touches the back of Dylan. It looked like there might have been a little bit of a lag bubble. And Louis comes around the corner and he goes straight into him. A very unfortunate race there for Louis. So crossing the line to begin a lap number 2. Scholl leads with Gerard in second. Marius is third with Dupi fourth. Bruno is fifth with Durkee in 6th. Jacques Racing is in 7th with Colin 8th. Ash is 9th. Dylan 10th. Jacques from TTR, he's in 11th place. Jake's down to 12th. Hamid in 13th place. And Louis in 14th. So we jump to the middle of the field where the action is really heating up. That's Dylan having a little look on the inside with Ash, but unfortunately he just drops back. This is the battle for 6th, 7th, 8th. Big power slide there by Dylan. Once again, getting that car very sideways as they prepare to come into the chute. Dylan takes a much tighter line right behind him, and that's Jacques. Up through the toe. Colin starting to close down Jacques Racing in the front. Jacques Racing with DNA Racing just ahead of him. That's Durkee. Looks like Ash was trying to go around the outside of Colin. But Dylan now, whoa, very close there. But he had to go off the track to avoid Ash there. Dylan getting that power on a little bit too early, really allowing that rear to come out. But Jacques Racing is leading this battle with Colin behind him, and then it is Ash, followed by Dylan, and then Jacques from TTR. It looked like Colin went very wide and touched the wall. That's Ash making a move on Colin. Dylan's going to follow him going into turn 1, but Dylan pulls out right at the last second there. So Ash, he's moved himself up ahead of Colin. Coming through the S's. Dylan very sideways once again. So Scholl leads this race with Gerard in second place. We then have Marius, he's in 3rd, there in the first of the yellow cars. It is Dupi in 4th place with Bruno right behind him, starting to put lots of pressure here on lap number 3 as they head into the bus stop. Very tidy line there by Dupi. Dupi racing with TTR Racing here in this race. Teammate to Jacques. Dupi were having a little look on the outside there coming through the chute, but unfortunately not close enough to threaten Marius in any way. Much a wider line there by Bruno. Well, that looks like Dupi got the power on. He might have oversteered a little bit. That's going to give Bruno an opportunity to get right up behind him coming into turn number 8. Will he move to the inside into turn 9? Looks like Bruno's going to try the undercut. But unfortunately Bruno's gone wide, so has not been able to take advantage of that mistake by Dupi. We just jump back a few places. We'll take a look at the positions. So Charles still leads with Carrot in second, Morris is third with Dupi fourth. Well, that was Colin running very wide there in shot. Bruno is fifth with Durkee in sixth, Jacques is seventh with Ash in eighth. Colin is ninth, Dylan 10th. Jacques from TTR, he's in 11th with Jake's 12th. Louis is 13th with Hamid in 14th place. So we're halfway through a lap number 4, and Bruno is starting to apply that pressure here on Dupi as we see the track starting to have water pooling up in certain parts of it. Well, let's see in the background there, that was Durkee getting it a little bit sideways, coming out of turn number 8. Looks like Bruno's going to go around the outside here, coming through turn 10. That was an incredible move there by Bruno. But Dupi's fighting back, tucking right up behind Bruno. Let's see what happens as they come into turn number 1. Bruno's been able to make that move stick. Amazing move around the outside of turn 10. And Bruno starting to pull their lead away from Dupi. So Ash is also starting to make some headway here on Jacques Racing with Colin right behind him. Well, Jacques turned in a little bit too soon there, but it looked like he might have got away with that. Great racing here by these drivers here in the middle field. Well, Dylan going a little bit wide on that at the back of that shot there. Great turn in there by Ash. You can see he's closing down this gap on Jacques. As he goes into the toe, he takes a tighter line. Oh, little contact between Ash. That's fortunately pushed Ash into the wall. Very unfortunate there for Ash. He was really looking great, starting to make the challenges. And unfortunately, he's now dropped back down to 9th place. So we're on a lap number 6, and race leader Charles starting to pull a substantial gap away from the Tosco 2 driver Gerard. We'll just look at the standings. Is Charles leads with Gerard second, Morris is third, Bruno is in 4th place with Dupi 5th, Durkee he's in 6th with Jacques Racing in 7th, Colin is 8th with Dylan 9th, Jacques from GTR is in 10th, Ash he's down in 11th place with Jake's 12th, Louis is 13th and Hamid in 14th position. So across the line to begin lap number 7, that's Bruno in the yellow car, he's in 4th place with Dupi 5th. That's Durkee for Tosco 1, having a look on the inside coming into turn number 1. These guys have got very close together. It looks like Durkee has just slowed down a little bit there. He might have just got a much slower exit than both Bruno and Dupi. As they go through the bus stop, very tricky little section, especially in the wet. Got to be careful of running wide and touching that grass, because that can put your car sideways. Dylan unfortunately learned that lesson in race number 1. As they go into the boot section here of this track, turn number 6 is the chute, which then goes into turn 7, which is known as the toe. On board with Durkee, preparing to go into turn number 8, which is also known as the heel of the boot, where Durkee goes a little bit sideways. Then out of a turn and number 9. Whoa, big oversteer moment there by Durkee, but he managed to catch that and not put himself into that wall. Into turn number 11. Quite tricky because you've got to be careful of the runoff there, because that wall is very unforgiving. And if you touch that outside curve, majority of the time it will pull you into the wall. Cross the line to begin a lap at number 8. Big power slide there by Durkee. This is like Durkee to get right up behind him. Oh, unfortunately he touches him and he loses all that momentum. We'll stay in this view to see what happens as they prepare to go towards the bus stop. If Durkee had got past Duppy, that would have been the end of that position. Durkee would have had so much more momentum going through the S's. Durkee is through there much tighter, has got a much better exit. Will he cut down on the inside through turn number 5, which is known as the outer loop, into the chute? Will he go down the inside? Yes, he does. Oh, unfortunately Durkee loses it, just clipping the back of Duppy, but unfortunately losing out on there. But he's managed to keep his position. We see in the rear view mirror that's Jacques Racing coming through now. So race leader Charles, he will exit out of a turn number 10 into turn number 12. Charles, he will cross the line in first. Gerard, he unfortunately will disconnect, giving a second place to Marius. Bruno will come in third with Duppy 4th. Durkee in 5th, Jacques in 6th, Colin 7th, Dylan 8th, Jakes in 9th, Jacques in 10th place. Ash will come in 11th with Khami 12th, and Louis in 13th place with Gerard unfortunately disconnecting. And now that both races 1 and 2 are complete for this event, we're able to look at the point standings. Charles, with his 2 double victories, they stay, and he drops 43 points, putting him on top with 120. Bruno from Silverback Racing, he comes home in second with 90 points, ahead of Tosco 2 driver Louis with 83. 4th place goes to Jakes from the Ninja Racing team with 73 points, and he's ahead of Marius from the Silverback Racing with 71. Gerard from Tosco 2, he finds himself 6th with 64 points, ahead of Duppy from the Flat Rabbit Racing in 7th place with 42 points. Ross, our Scottish international, he has 33 points driving for the Fad Muckers. He's ahead of the DNA Racing Jacques in 9th place with 30 points. And rounding off the top 10 is Dylan from the Green Mambas. He finds himself with 28 points. Now we have a look at the team standings after round number 3. Silverback Racing, they remain in the top spot with 161 points. Tosco 1 closes the gap on Tosco 2, both teams sitting with 147 points. The Ninja team, they stay 4th with 43 points. Flat Rabbit Racing, they swap positions with the Green Mambas. Cape Town Boys stay 7th with 47 points. Team Synergy, they're up to 8th, climbing 2 places, ahead of the Fad Muckers, they too climb 2 places. DNA Racing is up 1, and Tosco 3, they drop 3 positions. Decor Racing is up 2 with Turbos and Bullets also moving up 2, and the Lone Ranger, unfortunately, he drops down 2 places. Right behind him is Zeta Racing also dropping 2 places. Chasing Beavers, Team Wasted and Galaxy Racing remain as they are. So thank you very much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please subscribe to our channel, give this video a like, and don't forget that we have our live events happening every Thursday night. Should you want to tune in to the next race, we will be at the Red Bull Ring on the 1st of October. Ensure to watch the notifications and come and join us live. Thanks for watching. Yos.